Hello and welcome to Steve's Vintage Model Builds. Hope everyone's well today. Thanks for joining me. Gee, I looked overnight. I'm up to 423 subscribers. So thank you all very much. I appreciate all the time and people spend on the channel. Hope you find it interesting and informative. And I guess you find it worthwhile enough to subscribe to. So anyways, as I've said in other videos, I like to think I fill a certain niche here, and I'm glad that some people appreciate what I'm doing. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. And so today we've got a kit review. If you haven't already, you're invited to check out my more or less real-time build, step-by-step, although not necessarily in order. The 132 scale Mack R model truck. I think it's a 685 and I think it's 1973, but I don't know. Anyways, that's a 4-part series with an epilogue or a final reveal, and particularly geared towards beginners. So, or for those who have trouble getting to sleep at night. But excuse me. So, something came in the mail today. Yeah, and judging from what it looks like, as I said, today's the 17th. The earliest expected date was the 26th. So I'm kind of I'm pleased with that. So, anyways, so we're gonna open her up here. And see what we get. This is a regular gray shipping bag. And yes, it is what I expected. Oh, it's kind of bashed up. Okay, as usual. Oh, here it is. Da 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 da. The Atlantis 148 scale white 3000 tractor. This is a 1953 model with a White-Fruehauf trailer, and also includes 2 figures as well as accessory parts. And this is an old kit. This kit was tooled in 1956 and has not been changed since, although the decals are very recent. So it's not a big kit, and so the review won't take very long. So we're going to turn to you know what everybody knows that I love, the history. Okay, so this is Sinclair oil, and Sinclair oil, they're now part of Holly Frontier, you know, the oil industry consolidation, all that kind of stuff. So although they're still their brand is still out there in certain areas. So it was founded by Harry F. Sinclair on May 1st, 1916. He did it by amalgamating the assets of 11 small petroleum companies, and it was originally based in New York, but reincorporated in Wyoming in 1976. So from 1916 till 1976, it was based in New York, just as Standard Oil was under Rockefeller. And speaking of Rockefeller, yeah, along with Rockefeller, you know, Sinclair was one of the great industrial oil barons of the turn of the 19th and 20th centuries, and quite a bit of Wild West stuff went on I'm not going to get into all of that there, but if you are interested in the history, uh, you can check it out. Lots of rock'em sock'em stuff. Got everything for you. And it was at one point one of the largest privately owned American corporations. It owned and operated refineries, gas stations, hotels, a ski resort, and a cattle ranch. Their mascot, their logo, was a brontosaurus, and I think it's pretty hilarious. Back in the day, their marketing people were capitalizing on the idea of dinosaurs and fossil fuels and how fabulous they were and everything, which they are. Don't get me wrong, they are. Just the way the marketing's changed and the attitudes. That's what I don't know whether to laugh or cry. But anyways, moving right along. So, he founded the corporation, and near the beginning of the Great Depression, 1920, early 1930, I'm not sure of the date. He sold his interest in a pipeline, the Sinclair Oil Pipeline subsidiary, to Standard Oil Company of Indiana. I beg your pardon, Standard Oil, Rockefeller's company, was based in Indiana, although he was from New York. Sinclair sold it to Standard Oil for $72.5 million, and which was a pretty hefty chunk of change back in 1930. And then he went on to lease oil rights and everything. There was a bit of controversy over the company's collaboration with Mussolini at the beginning of the war. Anyways, that all got exited and smoothed over and all that kind of stuff. During the Depression, that's what he did with that $72 million. He snapped up other petroleum companies that had gone into receivership or bankruptcy, and outright acquired others just to expand the operations. So in 1969, they merged with Atlantic Richfield, the Arco company, and so et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then, as I said, in 2021, 2022, Holly Frontier bought most of the assets. So, and I'm not going to talk about Fruehauf trailers, but I am going to talk about the White Motor Company. As I said, this is a 1953 White 3000. We call it a COE, or a cab over here in North America, and its COE is cab over engine, and so there it is. And the White Motor Company, that has an interesting story as well. It was founded in 1900, and by the son of the inventor, owner of White sewing machines. So he came from a somewhat mechanical family, and over the years, they made cars, trucks, buses, agricultural tractors, roller skates, lathes, and continued to make sewing machines. Their White diesel engine division in Springfield, Ohio, manufactured diesel engine generators, and they were suppliers to the U.S. military equipment and infrastructure. And their main use by the Army was on Nike and Beaumark launch complexes and other guided missile installations and proving grounds. So, obviously, very reliable stuff. They also did sections of the Sage and Dew lines, combat direction centers, etc., etc., etc. They continued on through the Vietnam era. And so to back up a little bit, why go from sewing machines to automobiles? And as I said, it wasn't direct. Sewing machine company was still there, run by his father. But in 1898, Thomas H. White, the son, purchased a Locomobile steam car. Locomobile was one of the early auto manufacturers. But he found the boiler was unreliable. Actually, Thomas was the father, I beg your pardon. And so the car was there, and his son, Roland, as a project, set out to improve its design. He developed a form of water tube system generator, which consisted of a series of stacked coils with two novel features. The first was that the coils were all joined at the top of the unit, which allowed water to flow only when pumped, and that allowed the control of the steam generation. The second was pulling steam from the lowest coil closest to the fire, which allowed better control of the steam temperature. And it was successful, and he had the prototype patented. And from there, he persuaded his father to use part of the sewing machine factory to start building cars. And his brother Windsor, who was a management talent, I guess by that they mean he was a good manager, joined the business, and then another brother, Walter, became the salesman. So, the three musketeers of everything you need for a successful company. And successful it was. They made steam automobiles through the end of World War I, as well as they also started manufacturing trucks. At the end of World War I, they left automobiles behind and decided to focus only on trucks. And by the end of World War II, and of course they continued to supply through World War II and so on and so forth. But after World War II, they acquired Sterling trucks in 1951, Autocar in 53, Rio in 57, and Diamond T in 58. During this time, they also entered into an agreement to sell Consolidated Freightways Freightliner trucks through its own dealers. And in addition to trucks, they also designed and produced the M3 Scout Car, the standard U.S. Army reconnaissance vehicle at the start of World War II, and also later built the M2, M3, M13, and M16 half-tracks. Remember, they manufactured tractors too, agricultural tractors. And in 1967, they started the Western Star Division to sell trucks on the West Coast. And I'm not going to go on any longer. If all the information's out there. Anybody who wants to look up more. They dabbled in buses, but anyways, by the end of by 1980, their fortunes had turned, and they ended up bankrupt. Most of the assets were bought by Volvo. A Canadian company bought the rights to Western Star, and so anybody in the 70s, it was a white Freightliner or a white Western Star. But anyways, under bankruptcy, reorganization, and so on and so forth, Western Star is now a standalone company, as is Freightliner, I believe. So yeah, that's a bit of the history. We've got oil and automotive, so I thought those two would tie together nicely. And so Having spent 15 minutes yapping and sending some to sleep for the night, here we are. Yeah, unfortunately the box is crushed. Knowing what's inside this kit, I'm not too worried about anything being damaged. But it's always nice to get a good box. I don't care that much, but some people do. So, yeah. So, made in the USA. Copyright 2024 Atlantis models. The new Atlantis models was just set up, I think, in about 2022. But this is a mold from the old Atlantis company, obviously, since it's from 1956. And, excuse me, as far as I can tell, it's the first generation, the first generation of first generation Atlantis. Like every other model company, they went through progressions and so forth. So, okay, on the side here, we got ages 14 and up. I don't think so. Anyways, we'll see about that. Everybody can draw their own conclusion. Kit number H1402 in their catalog contains one plastic model, and obviously it's in bright green. Emerald green, I believe is what they called it. Assembled length is 10.25 inches, includes 2 figures, 61 parts, molded in green and clear with water slide decals. There's a note, gas truck details. Kit was originally released in 1956. This 1/48 scale model features a detachable trailer, tilting front cab and detailed engine, and interior engine and interior, detailed chassis, opening gas compartment doors on trailer, 2 figures with sign. Kit also includes extra markings, and I'll get into that later. That's a special little bonus that many of you may be interested in. And the White-Fruehauf combination was one of the most spectacular transportation units operating in the 1950s, and the replica of this exciting truck will be an important addition to your collection of Atlantis models. Shameless self-promotion there. On the side, they don't give you any kind of paint manufacturers or numbers. They just note black, silver, red, white, flesh, brown. Oh, and of course green, unless you're just going to build it without painting it. Okay, and I like it's made in the USA instead of some other places. Got anything on the bottom here? Ah, yes. Okay. They note this is skill level 2. Moderate skills required. Glue and paint. This item is not a toy. No play value, as if. Model only for display purposes after assembly. And Okay, so there we go. Okay, so let's pop the top here. Top opening box. Got to give them credit for that, even though it got crushed. And here we have a nice decal set. And there's a little sign there, so if you wanted to, you could do like a gas station diorama. If anybody knows where I could get Sinclair gas pumps, please let me know. Okay, so I'll take this out and set this aside. Okay. sprue bag. Oh, and I forgot to mention this cost me $36.20 Canadian. No tax. I don't know why. I'm not asking any questions. Anyways, so we have some clear parts here, and they look fine. These aren't flaws or blemishes. They're meant to be that way. They were little windows that went up and down. This one looks like it does need a little polish. Not a big deal. Okay. We'll pour it all out. Excuse me, I'll just have a sip of tea. Okay, and yes, it is certainly green. So if you're a young modeler, and or you're a modeler who doesn't particularly want to paint it, boy, this is a real dog's breakfast, isn't it? I'm telling you. Okay, well, I've had worse. Okay, so let's take a look and see. Okay, so here's the crew cab. There's a bit of contour on the floor here. We've got a very nicely detailed figure here. The wheels are plastic, they're wheels. A couple of dangling pieces, shouldn't do that, but I did. Get this easy to trim up, okay. You get the little ladder, goes on the side. And there's some flash here. Not surprised, tooled in 1956. You know, I mean, I got this as kind of a lark. It looked like a fun build. Oh, yeah. Happy Guys. HPI Guys. Does lots of great stuff. And, yeah. So, anyways, yeah. Kits don't have to be super expensive and complicated and brand new, for that matter. You can still have a lot of fun with them. Okay. And so, yeah, so we've got the, we got the axles here. Here's the sign. Put the dinosaur on there. Here we've got chassis and engine pieces. I guess this is the... Oh, yeah, this is the chassis for the semi. And it looks like the engine pieces just go together, but there is some detail here, along with flash. And we've got the front plate. You can see there's some nice detail there. And you can see, yeah, nicely done, imprinted the white logo. So that'll be nice. Looks clear too. There's some extra wheels that come off. And here we got apparatus. You've got more wheels. The fifth wheel. Pieces for the trailer. The pipes. Guess this looks like the radiator. Yeah. Okay. We got more wheels. We've got the roof. We've got the some of the exhaust here. The two pieces of the cab. This looks like the the water pump and timing chain and whatever for the motor. So that's not bad. Three pieces, and there is detail here. So yeah. And then we've got figure number 2. He's kneeling down, and the clothing looks fine, and the hands, and there's very little flash. The face is kind of nondescript, but I prefer my figures to not have faces anyways. They're easier to paint that way. That's a joke. Okay, so, and then of course here's the two pieces for the tanker. And as you can see from the box, it's kind of an Art Deco-ish kind of style. So yeah, this is probably going to need some cleanup and maybe a bit of cajoling. That's what I saw in one of the reviews anyways. But I'm not surprised, same as ship's hulls and stuff like that. I think it looks very nice for, you get the detail on the top. I don't know, can you see? You got the waffling here, waffle stuff, whatever it's called. And, yeah. So, Steve, get a move on. Okay. Let me put the top back on because before we review the instructions, we've got this decaling. Oh, there's more pieces. And here's why it might be of interest to military modelers. You also get decaling for United States Army. And so, if you've got a 148 patent tank, or maybe post-World War II aircraft or truck or whatever the case may be, anyways, that's kind of cool. Okay, and here we start with the instructions here. The only other Atlantis kit I have had is the Mac AC truck, which unfortunately I've really messed up with the paint on that, so it's really on the back burner. I think I'm going to have to order another kit when I have an extra $50, because some of the parts are the paint job is irrecoverable. So, but anyways, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Okay, so it was a good kit, so no complaints. Okay, so we start off with decal application instructions, or decal. Study before, blah blah blah, the usual stuff. Shows you how to put together the motor, put it into the chassis. So yeah, each thing has pretty much one thing you're putting on it. Seems to me these should be reversed. You should get this before you start with this. But anyways, this is how they've done it. And yeah, the usual kind of glossary: when to decal, when to mask, when to cut, when not to cut, etc., etc. Okay, and then yeah, and then from there you put the wheels on, and then you put the cab together. Put the roof on the cab, the rear window on the cab, put the radiator in, put the whatever that thingy is. They show you here, don't glue it because it's a cab over. So you lift the hood like this, and then we move on to the trailer and the vessel. And then the wheels here and all the undercarriage, the pipes and stuff. The review I saw, there's a bit of a challenge with the pipes. So certainly go with the dry fit and figure it out if you're going to build this. And they give you the decaling and everything for Sinclair. They put all this stuff up. These doors can be open or closed. So as if they're, they'd be open obviously if they're, doing their thing, whatever. And yeah, and so just all the little bits and pieces there. And then here it says for US Army version, refer to back of box for decal placement and painting. It's one color, not a lot of decals. So anyways, and so that's it. And so keep these. Oh, and the decals say U.S. Army Air Force. So that would have been just prior to the United States Air Force was formed. I can't remember when that was. Okay, so time to rate the kit. Okay, so I'll put up a card for the criteria I use to rate a kit. At all times, I try to be fair and relatively impartial. And if anything, I err on the side of generosity rather than being overcritical. Others may have different opinions, and they're welcome to them. And if there's any reason you'd like to leave a comment, you're welcome to do so. I just ask that keep them respectful and constructive if you can. I'm always open to new ideas, tips, if I've got something wrong, to corrections. So yeah, and I'm always happy to learn if someone can provide more information. So, okay, so yeah, as I said, I'll put up a card, but it's a 12-point scale. 10 standard points, 2 points for packaging, 2 points for sprues, 3 points for parts, and up to 3 points for instructions. Each of those categories can get up to a quarter-point bonus for any wow factors. And overall, at the end, I award up to 1 bonus point for what I call value. Value is not only the base cost of the kit, but for what you paid. Are you getting the parts that getting enough parts? Are you getting way too many parts? That's going to make it more frustrating than enjoyable. And also, what I try to do is I try to, just kind of mentally calculate how many hours of enjoyment am I going to get out of it. It's a pretty simple kit. A young person, probably 10 years old with supervision, could put it together, and it's not even a weekender really, unless you were going to paint it up and all, which I will. So and assembly looked to be quick and simple and easy. So $36 if I get 3-4 hours out of it, $10 an hour. I'm happy, especially if the model turns out good. Okay, all right, so for this kit, packaging, up to 2 points. I got to ding them on this pretty bad. For $36, they could have put it in a box, even though, anyways. Only 1 point for that. If it had come and not been all squished, anyways, it won. That's what they get, a 1. The sprues, again, I gotta hit them. It's a dog's breakfast. Stuff was broken off, although nothing seemed to be broken and everything seemed to be there. And there was some flash. So, a 1 1/4 there on the sprues. As far as parts are concerned, the quality of plastic looked okay. The detail was okay. I didn't really notice any warped or broken parts. I'm going to give that 2 1/4, plus a quarter bonus point for the U.S. Army decals, or Army Air Force decals. That's a nice touch. They could have just given you this, what's on the box, whatever. So, but yeah, for diorama maniacs, this would be perfect. If you're going to do a little 148 airfield kind of thing or whatever. So, yeah, okay, and so that brings that up to 3, and I'm gonna, $36. It's a bit of a stretch for what's in here. I certainly wouldn't want to pay more than that for it. And you do get 2 figures, which are pretty good. They are nicely detailed. And you get some nice features with the kit as well. The cab lifts up so you can see the motor, even though it's a fairly simple motor. They were fairly simple motors. You get the extra sign, a quarter point bonus there. So this is going to be on the lower end of what I usually rate a kit for. I'm not disappointed. Don't get me wrong. I'm not disappointed. It's just not I like the subject. I got what I wanted, so I'm happy with that. But mostly because of the packaging. Best I can do is 7 1/4 on this, I'm afraid. That's not really on the manufacturer. Although, like I say, I wouldn't want to pay more than $36 for it. After all, it is Canadian dollars, which is $4 US. No, not yet. Anyways, okay, so under 40 minutes today, amazing. As I said, not a huge kit, and hope you enjoyed the bit of history there. If you want to know more about Sinclair oil, you can just look up Sinclair oil. The teapot dome scandal that brought down a Republican president. Why is it always the Republican presidents? Anyways, and a lot of great history with the White Motor Company. So thanks again for joining me. And as I said, if you haven't already checked out my real-time, more or less beginner's build of the Mac R model, 1973 685. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure, but I just haven't been able to confirm it. Unlike this, which is the White 3000 from 1953. Okay, so and the other thing is too, I think I can have a lot of fun with this, and it'll be a lot of fun to decorate it up and stuff. You just have to find the right color of green paint. I might have some here for the airbrush. It's nice and glossy. Okay, so thanks again. Thanks to my subscribers. Thanks to my returning viewers and everyone else for their time. Bye now.